Now I'm going to enter into files or streams. We can call it as files or streams. It is a one more time most important topic. Most important topic again. Here also one more project will be coming. These projects are very, very important to get the coding. So in these files or streams, what we are going to learn it. So I'm going to explain this index, and my index is going to be more than everybody. Try to understand this index. Instead of typing that index, which is a very big index, I will try to get from my previous batch, which I taught to them, that I want to show you the index of the files. Index of files I want to show. See this index carefully. Try to watch it. Here, most important again, index. Purpose of files, types of applications, non-persistent and persistent, definition of files and streams, types of files, text files, binary files, operations on files, write operation, read operation, file opening modes. This is a concept part. This is a concept part. I want to cover it. First concept is important. Next, file opening modes, R mode, W mode, A mode, R plus, W plus, A plus, X plus. Even in C language also you learned files. C language. C++ also files. Java also files. Python also files. And I don't know whether you know this kind of thing. Maybe maximum I can understand. Nobody knows. It's a big zero. So in my class, how you become good student, I want to see. Only by reading, talking in the class, nothing will come. Become zero only. So try to read out when you come to the class. Number of approaches to open the files by using open off, by using with open as approach, programming examples. Next, writing the data to the file, write operation, write lines, followed by programming examples. Reading the data from the file, read operation, read lines, programming example. Random access files, seek function, tell function, programming examples. Working with pickling, that is in Java, we call it as a serialization, and unpickling, we call it as a deserialization operations. Implementing pickling and unpickling operation with a pickle module functions, programming example, project implementation again. So, next, working with most important CSV files, very important in NumPy pandas. Operations on CSV file with CSV module related functions, programming examples. Working with the JSON files, very important, super important. Operations on JSON file with JSON module here, JSON.loads, JSON.dump, JSON.load off, programming examples. Working with OS based operations, implementation of OS based operation with OS model, programming example. This is my topics of these files. So I hope that it is clear about the index. Shall we start up? So now I will start it. Online students, shall we start now? Quick response is required. Respond all of you. Right. Now I will move to the purpose of files, types of applications. We'll enter. So first we will start with non types of applications. We will talk types of applications. Let's start here. Students, there are two types of applications are available which we have developed so far. Only one type only. So number one is called what? Non-persistent. Non-persistent applications. Try to understand. Don't take much time. Non-persistent applications. One more is called persistent applications. In non-persistent application, the name itself says non-persistent. Means what? Not storing the data permanently. This is second one is called persistent applications. What is the first one? Non-persistent applications. The examples are what? What are the examples? So far, all our previous examples are comes under what? Which applications? Non-persistent. Our previous ATM project also non-persistent application only. In this place, what is happening? In this application development, what is happening? We get input from keyboard. We get input from keyboard. Next to doing what? And stored in main memory. Stored in main memory in the form of what? Hmm. In the form of Madhu, in the form of what? Objects. Beginning days, if you look at every input is going to stored in the form of what? Objects. In Python, every value stored in the form of object. Where I taught that entire thing, go to the place, 11 a.m., getting started with Python, somewhere else, getting started with Python programming. There I said, in this place, if you think about it, this is the coding level things. I'll open it. So there we are having starting with Python. Here I'm having in this place you look at here in Java programming all sorts of values, all types of literals, that is a value stored in the form of variables in the memory. All variables in the main, all the variables are called what? Objects. All types of variables are called objects. That point I am using today. Input from keyboard stored in main memory in the form of objects. Processed the data, processed the data, processed the data, and result stored in which memory itself? Main memory itself. Result stored in main memory itself. Next I'm going to store it. Process the data, result stored in main memory itself. And whose result? Whose result displayed displayed on the monitor, on the monitor. So by using which statement? Print off. This is by using what function? Input off. So this you imagine it diagrammatically. What is the diagrammatic representation? This is your computer, and so far I was executed my example. I will enter the keyboard from here. That will be storing in the main memory in the form of an objects, number, name, and etc. And processed in the main memory, whose result will be stored in the main memory itself. That is by using print statement. We'll see. We'll read the data from the keyboard by using input. This type of application is known as what? Non-persistent. What is this? Non-persistent. Today, what is my next job? This result, after processing this result, I want to store permanently. That is the new programming we are learning. In C language, you need to learn, C++ you need to learn, other languages also. But other languages, zero. People who taught to you just made you zero. And in this class, this result, I want to store permanently. Permanently means how many concepts are there? To store the data permanently, you know general knowledge, you need to take the concept of what? File. Or you need to take the concept of database. So results are stored permanently in which memory? Secondary memory. This is the main memory. Results are stored in secondary memory permanently, either in the form of file concept or in the form of database. Database concept will be coming after files concept. Right now, our main focus is on how to deal with what? Files. So I want to store my results permanently in the form of what? File. So files are used for which purpose? Files are used for storing which purpose? To store my results permanently. ATM transactions, you take it. College level data, you take it. University data, you take it. Customers data, you take it. And the shopping malls, when you go for it to give some offers and all, they will give you some contact details, they will take it. All the data stored permanently in the form of what? Files. The files will reside in which memory? Secondary memory. That is called what? Persistent. Persistent meaning is permanent. So in this application development, what we will do? In this place, what we will do? We take the data from keyboard stored in main memory in the form of object by using input function. No doubt in that. Process the data and result stored in main memory. Whose result displayed in main memory by using printer. That's perfect. And if we want, we can store the data permanently. The result of the program, the result of the program, I am writing newly. Result of the program stored permanently, stored permanently in two places, stored permanently in secondary memory. Secondary memory is nothing but beginning I said types of memories. Secondary memory and main memory. This is nothing but what? Hard disk. Hard disk. In the form of either in the form of what? Files. In the form of files. Second one is database software. Why we people are learning files? Why we people are learning files? For developing what? Persistent applications. Why we are learning database software? For persistent application development. So what is the use of files in any language? To store the data permanently. So in industry, how many approaches are there to store the data permanently? Two. One is by using files, one more by using database software. At that too, which database software? RDBMS softwares like Oracle, like MySQL, like MySQL, like a DB2, like DB2, like SQLite 3, like SQLite 3. In fact, there are so many number of databases are there. Using that, we can store the data permanently. So files, why are we learning files? To store my data permanently. For that purpose, you are going to learn it. Are you following me? Now, I'll open a small documentation. Online students, who is this? Yuvraj. Yuvraj, are you sleeping or what? Are you falling down on the keyboard or what? Huh? Are you there? Mr. Yuvraj, I think you are sleeping. I hope so. Online students, is my explanation is clear? Is my explanation is clear? Right. Now I will move to the further. So coming to the point back. So Rudra Prakash, what is that? Huh? So something they are saying. Okay, Rudra Prakash. So you don't try to react on it, ma. You don't try to react on it. So they will take care. Okay, na? So don't react on it, Rudra Prakash. So they will try to interact with me. So you don't try to react. Okay, Rudra Prakash. So now I will move to the further. Now I will move to the further. So now let us go to that place. Now I will go to further. So now I will show a small example for you. Try to take care. Now I will go to this place and files. One small concept I will show you. Types of applications I will say. Try to read out, all of you. Open up your mouth and try to read out. When I read out now, you are simply quite sitting and feeling lazy. Read out, all of you. I don't read out. You only read out. I will just highlight it. You read out by yourself. What is that? Data persistency. What is meant by data persistency? I said The process of storing the data permanently is called data persistency. Come on. In this context, we can develop two types of applications. They are non-persistent applications, persistent applications. In non-persistent application development, we read the data from keyboard stored in main memory in the form of object, processed, and whose result displayed on the monitor. Example is what? Our ATM application. Sleeping. Sleeping, correct? Stand up. Sleeping. By sleeping, what you will get, student? Huh? By sleeping, what you will get it? Just to think about it. By sleeping, what you will get it? Your time waste, my time waste. Because with my own eyes, I don't want to see injustice. Something wrong in front of my eyes, I am unable to hold it. Stand backside for a few minutes so you can be active. Not try to follow. You see, if you sleep now, nothing will happen for me. Because if you sleep, if I make you to sit, you will not understand my class. Don't be lazy, first of all. So, now coming to the point of it. In non-persistent application development, this is done. All our previous examples comes under this ATM applications. These are all comes under non-persistent only. Go to next step. We know that data stored in main memory data is what? Temporary. Main memory data is temporary. In the day one only I said, where types of memories I said. Main memory, secondary memory. Main memory data is what? Temporary. Like your brain. Like your brain. Your brain is the best example for main memory. If you read daily, your brain will become secondary brain. So, in persistent application development, we read the data from keyboard stored in main memory in the form of object, processed, and whose result stored permanently. In industry, we have two ways to store the data per- permanently. They are by using files, by using RDBMS database softwares. These are the two ways to get the data permanently to store it. So, what is the need of learning files in present industry? To get the data persistency. Every topic will have the purpose. What is the purpose of exception handling? Hmm? Good, good. కరెక్ట్ నువ్వు కరెక్ట్ నిజంగా చెప్తున్నావు కరెక్ట్ గా టు డెవలప్ robust applications to develop robust applications. That's correct word. Like that you have to tell. Robust means what? Strong. Like that you need to tell. Understand? Every topic will have its own format is available. So coming to the point back, Pujita, not a definition of purpose of exception handling is to build the robust application. How to build robust application? What you are saying, converting technical error messages into user friendly error messages. That entire story will be contained. Okay now. So now I will show you one small explanation here. Okay, diagram good చూపిస్తాను మీకు. Diagram I will show. Diagram I will show. You just observe it, students. Diagrammatic representation keyboard, reading data from keyboard by using input, stored in main memory, non-persist, stored in that, processing that, showing the result on the monitor. This section of the concept is called what? Non-persistent. Later, what I do, this result, whatever is available, that I am trying to store permanently, either in where? File or in where? Database. That is known as what? Persistent application development. Of course, the result has to be processed in where? Main memory only. But the result is stored permanently in file of secondary memory. Spell out file. Only secondary memory is the wrong answer. Secondary memory, you cannot store the data direct. In the secondary memory, you are storing the data in the form of what? File. So data finally stored in file. File resides in secondary memory. So overall conclusion I want to give it. What is my overall conclusion? Data stored in where? Data stored in where? Main memory. Main memory data is which data? Temporary. The temporary data I want to store permanently. To whom I have to contact? Secondary memory. In secondary memory, what should I create? File. So files resides in where? Secondary memory. First point you need to understand. What is the information you know about the files? First point you need to know. Files resides in which memory? Secondary memory. First point. Second point. Any file you take it. I'm giving the ATM, EXCEPT, ATM operations. So these are all called what? File names. Why you are giving file names? To recognize tomorrow, day after tomorrow, like that. So file names are something like a named locations in secondary memory. They are called what? Named locations in secondary memory. Why are you giving name? Tomorrow to identify, day after tomorrow to identify. You are giving some name, like your name, file name you are giving. Why names you are giving? To locate, to identify in coming days. Sit down. To locate or to identify. Sit down. Still you are not listening. Still you are in sleeping mode only. Then sit down means you are standing, not listening. Huh? Sleeping. Hmm. So your named location is known as which memory? Named location in secondary memory is called file. So files resides in which memory? Secondary memory. Now I am talking about one more thing. Purpose of file is what? To get the persistency. Third purpose. Definition of file I am going to say. Definition of file. So let's say the definition of file. Now I am telling the definition of file. I am reading the data from the keyboard. This is called main memory. In the main memory, I will create LST. What is LST here? Object. One object containing 10 RS and then some salary called 4.5. LST is an object resides in main memory, which is a temporary. This LST data want to store permanently. Want to store permanently. What is this memory? Secondary memory. I'm going to take my file name as student.data. Student.data is my file name, which is resides in secondary memory. In that, the value called what? 10. Next is called what? RS. Next is called 4.5. Next is called 20. Next is called DR. Next is called 4.6. 30. Next is called SR. Now 6.7. What these are all called? This is called originally which data? Object data. This is called which data? Object data. Object data becoming as what here? Record. Spell out. Record 1. What is the next? Record 2. What is the next? Record 3. Record n. So all objects are becoming what? Records. This is called what? File. So files contains what? Records. Student Madhu. Files contains what? Records. What is the definition of file? A file is a collection of records. A file is a collection of records. All the records are present into the file. Your college students' data. It's called record. There are 100 students are there in CSE branch. All 100 students information is there in the file. Each student data is called record. So what is the definition of file? Collection of records is called file. Hmm. Before the record data was there in where? Main memory, which is known as which data? Object data becoming what? Record. In the file of which memory? Secondary memory. If I want to do any changes in the record data you have to bring back to which memory? Main memory. Because the processing to be done only in the main memory. You cannot do processing in which memory? Secondary memory. Are you following me? So, to save the data, you will use file. And to do that, to do any changes to the object, you have to get the data from the file of secondary memory and you have to do it. See, bank you take it. You will get the money from the bank and you will spend outside, right? Where are you processing your money? Inside the bank or outside the bank? Huh? Outside you are processing, purchasing something. Are you purchasing inside the bank? You are just withdrawing the money and you are purchasing outside. Or you are depositing in the bank. So something like a bank, your database is also something like that. So the object data becoming a record is becoming an object, which is known as what? Stream we can call. Which what is the definition? Stream. Spell out stream. What is the stream? The flow of data. The flow of data between object of main memory and a file of secondary memory is known as what? Stream. Stream is nothing but what I said, flow. These are all called a terminology, vocabulary we can call. Flow. Flow is known as what? Object is becoming a record is becoming an object. Object of main memory becoming a record in the file. Record of the file will become object in the main memory. That is the final solution in the programming. Online students, I hope that you are understanding my explanation. These are the points I said. Try to read out. Hmm. Come on, online students. So I think you got my point. What is my points here? Start. Definition of file. A file is a collection of records, which is called what? Flat files. The data which is written now, what is the name called? Flat file. Because I'm telling a lot of file names: binary file, text file, CSV file, JSON file, lot of files. The file name which I said is called what? Flat file, which contains what? Records. Our Python files are also there. It is not containing records. That is containing what? Statements. That is not a flat file. Flat file only contains the records. Next one. File resides in secondary memory, which is known as what? Hard disk. Technically, a file name is considered as a named location in secondary memory. A file name is considered as a named location in secondary memory. The purpose of file is that to get the data persistency. Clear? These 4 points. Next, all objects of main memory becomes records in the file of secondary memory, and records of file of secondary memory becomes objects in main memory. That is the one you need to say. That is put it in the form of definition. But that definition of stream. What is the definition of stream? The flow of data between objects of main memory and files of secondary memory is called stream. So don't try to read out. You try to remember also. So if I show you, here I am going to show you one small diagrammatic representation I am going to show students. Try to understand. Here you see. What is this now? Main memory. List is called object, which is becoming secondary memory. Student dot data. File named location in secondary memory. Record 1, record 2, record 3. What is this answer? The data of object of main memory becomes a record in the file of secondary memory, and records of secondary memory becomes as an object in which memory? Main memory, which is known as what? Stream. We call it as a stream. Clear or not clear? Clear. So this point is very clear. I hope so. Up to here, if you understand, it is more than enough. First, you try to understand what is non-persistent, what is persistent, definition of file or stream. That is more than enough. And the types of files I want to tell you, students. Types of files are easy. One is what? .py. It is called what? Python file. .cpp. It is called what? One more type of C++ file. .c. .java. These are all called what? Language files. Suppose you are there. After BTech is over, what is your knowledge? No knowledge. So you are learning Python. So you are becoming Python student, Java student, testing student. Like that. Any file you take it, that is two files are classified. One is text file and then binary file. Text files are denoted by a letter called T. Text files contains alphabets will be there, digits will be there, special symbols will be there. Our Python files should have curly braces will be there, colon will be there, comma will be there. So many symbols will be there, digits will be there. That is known as which file? Generally text file. That text file you can save it according to your extension. Suppose here I am writing it. I will open this new normal text. I will write a print of. I am writing here what? Hello Python world I am writing. Hello Python world I am writing. This is called what? After all text file. I will save it. Control S. It is asking me to save it. It is asking me to save it. 11 a.m. And I will create one folder. My topic is files. In that I am saving it. How it is getting saved? .txt. .txt. So basically my Python statement is also one text file only. If at all you want to save it as a Python file, you can say sample.py. Sample dot. We see how I am saving it within the double quotes .py. Originally it is a text file, but I am saving it on the extension. So it is coming to the Python coloring syntaxes or not. So text file is the one which contains alphabets, digits, and special symbols will be there, and it is denoted by a letter called T. By default, the file is called what? Text file. That you will get clarity. Binary files you take it. All images. Dot JPEG. తెలుసా ఇవన్నీ? Dot GIF. Dot JPG. Dot PNG. Have you heard about it? These are all called what? Images. Your pic, your picture, your passport size figure is called which one? If I store it into my laptop, it is called which file? Binary file. That contains the data in the form of internally binary format it is containing. It is denoted by a letter called B. If I want to deal with images, audio files, video files, PDF with the images and everything, that is known as which file? Binary file. A program without images is called which file? Text file. A document with images is called what? Ante. An MS document with images, binary file. An MS document without images, text file. Simple, not at all difficult. So, audio files, video files, MP3, AVI file, MVI file, that are all comes under. PDF file with images is a binary file. PDF without images is called what? Text file. Right? Images are means what? Internally pixels will be there. It's a general knowledge only. General knowledge only. I'm not talking about anything special about it. In the coding part, I will show you that. Two files, text files and binary file. Text file contains alphabets, digits, special symbol, denoted by a letter called T by default. By default, Python program treated everything as which file? Text file. I will explain this again. .py, .java, .c, .txt, .xlsx, .doc without images. Binary file. To get the clarity on it, you require contains data in the form of binary pixels. That is the image related, denoted by a letter called B. All images, all audio, video files, PDF files with images. These are with images, without images. Without images is called which file? With images, we call it as what? Binary file. Anyhow, I am going to tell you the example on images and everything. Nothing to worry about it. Just general knowledge. Are you following? Right, online students. Is it clear up to here now? So today I said some vocabulary student. Tomorrow class when I come back, I will talk about this example. Operations on files, and I will tell about file opening modes, and this examples I'll tell you. Number of approaches also I'll tell you. Don't become absent tomorrow because I will talk about this coding. So from here onwards, don't become absent. Very important topics these are all called. Don't try to sleep in the class. Once you come to the class, try to read out, try to refresh the previous class notes. Thank you. Carry on. Online students, if you have any doubts, you hold on, students. I will clarify your doubts.